Hello and welcome back to Geek, Feng, Shui. I'm your host and Game Master Bob Sellers Jr. Today we're going to take a look at the discovery mode of Assassin's Creed Odyssey. While this is firing up, I'm going to give a shout out to my friends at Chaotic Good Brewing here in Casson. I'm not reimbursed or otherwise compensated for shouting them out, other than I really like going there. Have had a lot of fun and look forward to more fun. Trivia night, Dungeons and Dragons, Magic the Gathering, yoga. I don't do the yoga. I have not yet done Magic the Gathering. Yoga intrigues me because I want to see how people drink beer while they're doing yoga. That shows you how little I know about it. But they have food trucks, they have pizza, they have, other than beer, they have milk, juice, soda, and other options. You can have a game room where you can go in and get board games. It's a family-friendly entertainment for the all ages. Discovery mode is a mode put together by Ubisoft as part of Assassin's Creed per request of educators and historians and whatnot, since they've done so much work into the environment of these games that gives someone the ability to go around and use it for teaching, or if you have someone, perhaps you don't want to partake of the violence, as it were, of the game, combat and whatnot, blood and gore, however you want to look at it, you can run around the same places and explore without harm. And for those who have had the itch, oh, I just go climb that statue or jump off that cliff, you can do it without getting hurt. I can do stuff I would not recommend doing in real life. One of my other ones with Origins, I climbed a pyramid and I skied down it. The locals might not appreciate you doing that in real life, but in the game environment, you can. Get it out of your system without getting expelled from a country. So when you come down here, each of these games has the option for... Now I should point out with this particular game, soundtrack is really good. I bought it and enjoyed it. It has some really good sounds to it. Check out my books at sellersjr.com or my barbecue at kiltedswinebbq.com or YouTube at kiltedswinebbq. Please subscribe, like. If you don't want to get notifications, set the bell accordingly. This is the kind of the scene you get when you're switching locations or first zooming in. You can cycle through. In this case, they have tips or hints of what happened during those time periods versus how to play the game. So it's a lot of interesting history and trivia. And you start out up on top of a building that you can run around and you're not going to be attacked. And you can do a jump. This is not a leap of faith because you're not jumping into something. Typically when you do a leap of faith, there's going to be a leaf or something you fall into. You can go around and visit the different parts. Like you'll see in each of these games, they try to have places where you can come in and you can interact, and it gives you historical perspectives of the different areas that you're in. There's tours in some of them that you can go on. Origins had that. I'm sure they do here as well. And like I said, if you suddenly say, hey, what happens if I climb up this? Climb up that? Well, you can sometimes. So when you go into an area like this, it might be part of a tour. If you're not on, it will just give you an indication. Let's say you want to come up and jump up on the statue, jump up here, you can. things that would get you arrested or otherwise involve the local authorities for running around doing all kinds of crazy stuff that you really shouldn't do in real life. And I'm not even going to advocate suggesting doing it. I'm saying this allows you to get it out of your system so you don't consider it. Don't get that itch. Be stupid. Now this is an example where you can see if you want to jump, go out in the water. On the map, like the other areas, you can zoom out and you see different parts of the area with the flight points. In the game, you have to get there to get them. But here, you can go to it. Now, they're all, each Odyssey, Origins, and Valhalla are all a little different. They each get a little more complicated, and as you advance from the earlier to the middle to the late, with the skill sets for your characters. But they're all very fun. It's not that all different than Diablo, how it changed over time, so that different games have different. Now, the synchronized thing is when you find one of these, this is what you see. You already have them here, so you don't need to. And there's the iconic bird from Assassin's Creed. If you watch the movie, it's even in there. You use that to go look. You can show. Also, one of the skill sets you have is you'll go retrieve your spent ammunition. Now, when you're up here, you can either jump into leaves or you can jump into water. That's a leap of faith. In the movie Assassin's Creed, they set the world record for longest free fall or highest free fall of a stuntman without any support. In the director's cut, you can see how they practiced it. This gives you a little bit more. You can do historical perspectives. There's tours you can do. I believe there's tours. I think that's what the light up areas are. But you can go along and run around. You can get on your mount. Say, I wonder what happens if I climb up that statue there, that building. Well, guess what? Here you can. Don't do this in real life. In the game, you'll have to get into some of these places by these guards that you might not be as easily to get into when you're playing the game itself versus this. A lot of historical perspective. So educators or even the curious can take tours and see what it was like back in that time frame. And discovery mode does get credits for stuff that make kind of a game within a game. If you saw my video from Valhalla, you kind of see that. So you can kind of get an idea. There's a Colosseum. And you can see how the open world really has a lot to offer. And if you want to go building to building, you can. This is the flight point thing again. We started out at when we went here. So if I go over and pick another one to go to, again, each of these has a different way of doing the flight points or waypoints. Sometimes you hold one button down, other times you hold the other. You can play both keyboard or controller. I tend to play all of my Assassin's Creed with controllers. I've come to like the controller better. I was a keyboard jockey for most of my computer gaming life. And when I got my new computer, I always wanted a console experience. I know people that won't do it, some people that will. Again, it's kind of cool to see the synchronized thing because it kind of gives you a little bit of musical interlude and tour or picture of the area around. But you see the little markings down there and you can jump. In this case, there's the leaves. So that's the leap of faith. This is not the leap of faith where you jump. Now in the game you'd probably die, because you do take damage when you screw up your... I think that... I'm not sure what that is in here, but... Oh, this is a fun thing to do in the game. So you go over here. Oops. See if I can do it without falling off the ledge. So you can ride this down. This is kind of fun to do. And if you let go, you do fall. So I'm just holding the left lever. So there's ways to do this in the game, to travel from one point to the other. So like when you get over water, you can drop into the water if you want to, or you can just keep going all the way to the end, and you end up on the target. Now you can't go backwards on those ropes, but it gives you an idea of how to do this. You can also tightrope walk, so whenever you see ropes, you can run across them. In some quests it's easier to do because there's guards and bad guys down below. Do a lot of roof running. Again, something I wouldn't recommend in real life, but you can get the experience of doing it in a game. And you can summon your mount, or you can just take one. You can go for a galloping ride. I have to kind of wonder if the game developers had this set up before when they were testing out the mechanics, and it just made it easy to put it into discovery mode. If you run into people, they complain and get out of the way, and that's cool sound effects. You don't just ride through them, they move. It's great game design with the engine allowed to do it. So you can go galloping through as much as you want. You can visit and explore if you want to go out to the countryside. There's no guards to harass you. And the scenery is beautiful. You ride your horse in the water if you want. There's little side things in the game. Let's try a little different spot of the country here. Let's see, we're down there, I think. Watch one of the islands. Guest house. But you kind of get the idea with discovery mode, you can really go around exploring. I have to check and see if there's other maps you can get to. I don't think there is in this game. Could be wrong. I highly recommend the Assassin's Creed movie. It is well done in my opinion, and I learned a lot of why stuff is done in the game from watching it, because I was not big into the franchise when I played it. I was kind of ignorant of that. And it's kind of cool now to understand. I've gone back and got the older games. Some of them are not as easily playable as I find these are. I'll try to do an introduction to them as I go forward. Now in this case, I should have come down lower because I didn't jump into the leaves. But you can call your mount, or you can just go over. And buildings have insides to them that are quite well done. Interiors. And in the game, you'll have to go through and you're killing off people that are in these, governors and whatnot, in quests. Puzzles. If you find boats like in the other ones, you can go out and go exploring with the boat if you choose to. There's some that are often abandoned along the shoreline. And yeah, you can go almost everywhere. There'll be a barrier if you're not allowed to go to some areas like the other games have had. And stuff like that. So let's check to see if you do shift in the map. Yeah, this is the only map stuff here. There's volcanoes that you can go into in the game. That these are all, I'm just zipping through them, but you can see how they have trivia things. Not so much trivia, but tidbits, I should say. Again, you kind of get a better idea of the view from synchronized, which is really pretty. And they got the iconic bird, hawk, or whatever you want to call it. In the game, you have a puzzle here where you have to move mirrors around to open different things that you don't have to do here. But you see that little door over there that has to be opened by doing mirrors around. And there's underwater things you go to get to. I don't remember where they all are, but you get an underground bit of exploration. You won't drown in discovery mode, so if you want to go swimming and exploring, you can not have to worry about it. In the real game, you do have a certain amount of air supply. And there may or may not be fish down there that come after you. Some areas are infested with sharks, some aren't. Yeah, you can go down and go deep. There's ships and stuff you want to explore. Sometimes you have to go underwater to get to tunnels and whatnot. And yeah, so this is just a taste of the discovery mode that you can get with this game. And it's an adventure in and of itself to go exploring. So you say, okay, I want you to run from this part of the continent to that part. See how long it takes you. If you see something way over there, you can try to get over to it, or however you want to do it. And so yeah, that's Discovery Tour. Oh, I didn't realize that. There you go. Right button gives you first-person perspective. I did not know this. And so you can see it without seeing the character if you prefer a first person. Or you can push it and go back. See, even I learned something making this video. I'll have to try that in a real game. It makes it even different because, well, it's first person, but it isn't type of deal because you still have the mechanics of catching yourself. But yeah, that is discovery mode. And you quit to title screen, and they have all kinds of different options. They have a store. Speaking of stores, you can check out my books on sellersgr.com, and you can find Assassin's Creed Odyssey and the other games, Valhalla, Origins and whatnot from Ubisoft. But check out our friends at Got a Good Brewing in Casson if you're in the area, or breweries in your area. There's a lot of fine ones around the country. It's a growing trend now to have family-oriented brewery areas to go out to and draw different crowds. So with that, we're going to call it a game. So have a good one.